Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. As you can see by the title, I won my freaking regionals. I did not even imagine that I would win, so that was just amazing. Anyway, you can see everyone's teams there and lots of Azumarill. You can't go past the fact that Azumarill is just so strong in Voyager Cup. So first up, I was up against my nemesis, Final Flash. I think that was awesome to be in regionals first up against him. I did lead with Hypno. I felt like it had a pretty neutral matchup against his team, and it kind of like, you know, first battle, want to get a feel of what he's using. So I did switch into my Tropius and he switches into his Azumarill, probably knowing that I have to spend shields, and Ice Beam from Azumarill will KO the Tropius. So we do shield here, and we've already got a big chunk of the health off of that Azumarill. We get to another Leaf Blade and we throw that one, charge it all the way up, and he lets it go through. So he does save that shield, and I'm expecting something in to kind of farm me maybe, and that's why he saved the shield. And we get the Shadow Victory Bell. These things are crazy strong. So I end up going for a Leaf Blade because even though they're strong, they do also have less defense. So they're very squishy. You can see how much those air slashes are just hurting it. He switches into his Sableye and I switch into my Bastiodon. It just walls Sableye. There's not really a lot Sableye can do. I don't need to use any shields here. And I can get up to a Stone Edge. He's got no shields. So I might even decide to farm it down. We'll see. I can't remember what I did here, but there's no point in really spending my energy. He's that close to fainting, and I would be able to tank another charge move if he threw one at me. Out comes a Victory Bell. We've got a flamethrower ready to go, and we take game one. So into the second battle, and we've got Sableye against Toxicroak. He leads with the Sableye again. The counters are just neutral because of the Ghost and Dark typing. So I switched into my Tropius, and I'm expecting a switch as well. He brings out Marowak, which is not ideal. So what I'm going to do here is just basically throw as much damage as I can and not spend any shields. So if you ask me, there's not really much point in spending my shields on a matchup that I know I'm going to lose. I end up making it to an air slash, so we do end up throwing that one. It will do a little chunk to Marowak, as you can see there. What a good fight that Tropius put up against Marowak there. I can pretty much bring either out and I'll be safe. I decide to go with Bastiodon, even though if he throws a Bone Club, it would hurt. But as you can see, Bastiodon is a shield. It doesn't need shields in the majority of matchups. So we take out the Marowak with one Smackdown, and he brings out that Victory Bell. I switch into my Toxicroak and go straight for a Mud Bomb. And I didn't see if he switched out then. He did, into his Sableye, which isn't ideal. Although, seeing how much damage that Mud Bomb did was, you know, I decided that maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was. So we do throw another one. We get the shield there, and I've still got 2 shields. So I think I decided not to use one. And yep, so Toxicroak goes down. We've got Bastiodon left. I decide to farm the Sableye down, and he has the Victory Bell in the bag. Although this time he does have a shield, so I don't charge this up at all, trying to get that shield. We're hoping to get to the flamethrower, but unable to get there. So I lose game 2 in round 1 with 2 shields, which isn't great, but just the Razor Leaf damage from Victory Bell is crazy. So this one I actually remembered to get my team in there first. You can see we're running Stunfisk. This thing turned out to be my MVP. Like, do not underestimate this thing. Not really sure how the matchup went with these two, so I decided to stay in anyway. You can see how much the Shadow Sneak did there. I don't think it's worth giving up switch advantage just for being unsure about something. So we throw a Discharge. It does quite a good chunk of damage, and I know that I can get to another one really quickly. So we throw another Discharge, might get the shield or maybe take the Sableye out. And it survives with 1 HP, and he's able to get a charged move off. So I decide not to shield this one, and we just survive ourselves, which is good because, you know, I don't have a lot of health left that can get farmed. Victory Bell takes us out with one Razor Leaf, and I decide to go into my Tropius here. Of course, the air slashes are just doing so much damage, and we get to a Leaf Blade, so I throw that one. He has decided to use his first shield. A little bit of lag, but it was just visual lag. You could see that the damage was still being done there. We decide not to shield, and it is an acid spray. He switches out into his Azumarill. This isn't really the best, but I've got 2 shields, which is, you know, a positive for me. He's only got 1, so I am going to have to land a Sludge Bomb to win this. So I go for a bait. I go a little bit over a Sludge Bomb just to really play those mind games, you know, and he doesn't fall for it. Damn it. So we end up just throwing another Mud Bomb. I know that I've got Tropius in the back and I cannot take an Ice Beam, so I'm saving that shield, and Azumarill gets to another charge move. Oh, I do use the shield apparently. Okay, I'm able, oh, he switches out and I get to a Sludge Bomb, so he really high plays from him. It takes out the Victory Bell, so his Azumarill comes back in, and I decide to switch out at the last minute and I catch the charge move here. It's a play rough. We just survive, and of course it was a CMP tie, and I get to the Leaf Blade, which is going to be a GG's. So we take the win for round 1 against someone who's always beaten me so many times. That was awesome. So second up, I was up against Bad Jordan, and you can see his team on the right. I led with Hypno, and then we've got Toxicroak and Bastiodon. I like running Bastiodon when people have Altaria, because if they don't use it as a lead, they usually use it as a switch, and they end up switch locking their Altaria against my Bastiodon. And he doesn't really have a hard counter for Hypno on his team, so that's why I led with it. So it's good that we're in this matchup. I do have Ice Punch, so my Hypno, I ran it with Ice Punch to be an Altaria counter. So we get to another Ice Punch. And when I was building my teams, basically, like, depending on their team, I'd either choose something that I knew had good matchups, and then sort of choose a Pokemon that covered its weaknesses, and then for the 3rd slot I'd choose that to cover my 2nd slot's weaknesses. Or you would do what Zionic has in one of his videos, shout out to Zionic, the Batman and Robin strategy, so where you choose a Pokemon and then you put a hard counter for it in your 2nd or 3rd slot, and then you put a soft counter for your first Pokemon in the other slot. So back to the battles. We've got, oh my gosh, Quagsire. I forgot how annoying this thing is. So I've got my Toxicroak and we're stuck against this Quagsire. We do manage to just take it out. We've only got a little bit of HP, which I said in the last battle is ideal because you don't want to get completely farmed up. So he does bring out Altaria. We're just going to bring our Bastiodon out and have it waste all of its energy on us. There's nothing it can do. And he decides to switch out, and I do stay in. I go for the Flamethrower, and if this connects, it won't quite take out the Venusaur. It does go through. He doesn't have any shield. Sorry, I wasn't really paying attention before. We do shield this one. Don't really need to. Bastiodon would still be able to tank a Frenzy Plant from that range, but I know he's got Altaria in the back, which is only like 1 smackdown away from fainting. So going into the 2nd battle, I decide to lead with my little MVP. We've got Altaria in the 2nd slot, and then we put Hypno in the back. So my Stumpfisk has good matchups against pretty much all of his team except for Venusaur. He leads with Venusaur, so we lost the lead there. We do switch into our Hypno, which is a good counter for Venusaur. I don't want to bring my hard counter in because I know that, as you can see, he's going to switch his Venusaur out. So this means that I've got my Tropius in the back, and he's got his Venusaur in the back too, and my Tropius will generally beat his Venusaur. So there's not really a lot that Hypno can do. For some reason I threw an Ice Punch. You'll see how much this tickles the Bastiodon. and I'm just going to kind of do as much damage as I can. We are going to be able to bring in Stunfisk and not have to worry about any of the charge moves that Bastiodon has to throw at us. So we do go through a Mud Bomb, and this will be super effective against the Bastiodon. I think it's even super duper effective, ground against steel and rock. And he switches into his Venusaur, which is great. This is why I didn't bring out my hard counter for Venusaur previously. If this is a Sludge Bomb, which it is going to hurt a lot. So I do overcharge a little bit. We get to... sorry, I didn't overcharge there. We get to the Aerial Ace, and it takes out the Venusaur. He's still got a shield left, so he brings in his Bastiodon. I'm not going to shield my Tropius, it's done its job. I needed it to take out the Venusaur, and it did that. So we're able to bring out our Stunfisk. He's going to have to use the shield or get either fainted or very close to fainting here. And he decides not to shield. He's got Quagsire in the back. There's not much I can do here. As you'll see, the only things that Stunfisk really has to worry about is Mud Boys and grass, which going into these battles I didn't really consider that. I hadn't really practiced against a lot of Mud Boys, or had, like, I only put Stunfisk on my team the day before, so I didn't have a lot of practice with it. I think that Mud Bomb is probably the better way to go, like energy wise. If you had some more health, of course. There's not really anything I can do here. He's going to be able to take me out. So Stone Edge, and how much it's just so spammy, and it is very tanky as well. I mean, even things that hurt it, like a Mud Bomb on a Stunfisk from a Toxicroak hurts a lot less than a Mud Bomb from a Stunfisk to a Toxicroak. So third battle here, we are going for the tiebreaker. I've got my Hypno against his Bastiodon. As I said last battle, there's not a lot I can do here. I do end up switching into my hard counter, which is the Toxicroak, and he throws a flamethrower. We do tank that one. He brings out the Quagsire. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here. I go for a Sludge Bomb though, and we'll see if it goes through. Oh, it does a decent amount of damage, so I don't think that Mud Bomb would do that much. And I'm going to let my Toxicroak go. There's not really any reason that I would shield it. There's not a lot it can do. Now my Tropius can come out and not worry about anything that this Quagsire can do. I think that Stone Edge would hurt, but it wouldn't KO me, so it's okay. I do end up shielding though. So, and I didn't want him to get to another charge move. I must have been a bit nervous. So we just undercharge a Leaf Blade. You know, I probably could have not charged it at all, and it would have taken out the Quagsire, because that leaves me with just a little bit of energy. It's like one less fast move to my next one, and it means that we're able to get to this Leaf Blade before the Venusaur. And what are we going to do here? I would be able to tank one Sludge Bomb, but we decide to shield. We would like to get that last shield off him, so I did just switch into Bastiodon there. I go for the Leaf Blade, and we end up with my Hypno against his Bastiodon again, although now the Bastiodon has a lot less HP. So my Shadow Balls are, as you can see, going to actually do a decent amount of damage, and I believe we're able to just tank this charge move. Yeah, so just get to a Shadow Ball. Even a nice punch would have taken that Bastiodon out at that range though. And then Venusaur is in the back. It's going to take us out in one Vine Whip. Oh my gosh, like how close is this? As I said before, we're going to be able to tank one Sludge Bomb. If he hits us with any other charge moves, it's over. We're able to make it to the Leaf Blade. This is going to KO, and we take the win for round... Sorry, this is actually round 3. So the first round I had a bye. I forgot to say that, but we'll see at the end of the video anyway. And so, yay. Now, next up, we're up against Triggy Smalls. Oh my gosh, you guys. Like, I've been playing Triggy since I first started PvP, so the fact that we're playing each other in the final round of regionals is just crazy. At this point, we're both undefeated, and going into the regionals battles, we were both at the bottom of the RSVP list. So we were both the lowest rank, if you will. So here we are fighting it out for first, both undefeated, and yeah, it was really exciting. So I didn't really know what to do about this Drifblim, but we started off with a Azumarill, and I decided to stay in, but he decides to switch out here, which means I can bring my Stunfisk in and pretty much just farm up the Azumarill, just like take out this Azumarill with so much shield pressure. I do have to be careful of a Hydro Pump. He's running Play Rough though. That does a decent amount of damage, but it wouldn't have KO'd us. But a Hydro Pump definitely would have. Ice Beam is super effective against Stunfisk though, so I think that would probably be the most energy efficient way to go about taking one down. So they get to the second move. I decide to double shield my Stunfisk. I felt like my Stunfisk was really important against this team, obviously. So we get to the second discharge. I saw that he's used both of his shields as well, and I knew that would take it out. So now we've got Hypno out here. We're going to go for another discharge. Don't really know how much damage it'll do, but it should probably be more than a Mud Bomb. Hypnos are pretty tanky though. We're just going to, yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted them to use their energy. So it's a Thunder Punch. It just tickles my my Stunfisk. He switches into his Drifblim, and we're able to bring out Bastiodon, which is going to completely wall the Drifblim. He throws an Icy Wind, which does lower our attack. There's a little bit of lag, but it wasn't game changing or anything. So I'm just going to farm down the Drifblim. Shadow Balls us. That hurts a lot more than it does coming from a Marowak. So I didn't see what he brought in then. I think it was the Hypno. Yeah, pink Hypno, shiny. So I'm just going to keep Bastiodon in. Like, we don't have our switch clock anyway. So Bastiodon is just going to absorb all of the energy that he builds up. Just gets tickled by that Thunder Punch. A Rock Slide will probably be enough to take out the Hypno. And we take the win for round 1 in the final round of regionals. So next round we lead with Azumarill, have Hypno in second, and Stunfisk in the back. He doesn't have a grass type, so Azumarill can pretty much just run rampant. Hypno, again, the only hard counters that he's got are the ghost types, so any other matchup is going to be pretty decent for my Hypno. And he switch locks in his Toxicroak. So of course I switched in my Hypno, and you can see in 3 confusions we take it out. He brings in his Marowak, although we're able to get to a Shadow Ball, so this is either going to do a lot of damage or force a shield. So it does force the shield. Hypno's already done its job. I do not need to shield this one. I've got a Azumarill in the back, and Azumarill is going to come in and basically just wreck this Marowak's plans. So we go for a shield bait. We get to the Hydro Pump and go for the Ice Beam. Get the shield bait, so that's great. He switches out into his Azumarill. I've got Stunfisk in the back. It's just a hard counter. Like, there's not a lot he can do from here. We're just going to throw too many discharges for the Azumarill to handle. So he's got no shields. I've still got 2 shields left. And I do have to be careful of the Hydro Pump. It's a Play Rough, like last time, so we get to another discharge. This is going to almost KO, if not KO. If it doesn't KO, we get to farm up a little bit of energy, and we get one more fast move of energy. So he's got his Marowak in the back. This is interesting. The Mud Bomb is super effective against us. Oh, Shadow Ball. I have to say, I think that Shadow Ball is better against Stunfisk, because that does more than a Mud Bomb. But our Mud Bomb is super effective as well, and it's able to take out the Marowak. So I just secured my win for regionals. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. So going into the third battle, because why not, we do get the lead big time. We've got Hypno against the Toxicroak. He switches into his Azumarill. I think that I made a misclick there. So I did make one silly mistake this tournament. I bring up my Azumarill. His Azumarill beats mine. I knew that, so yeah, this was a misclick. I remember this. I'm just going to throw as many Hydro Pumps as I can and we'll see if we can come back from it. So I'm not going to use any shields. We're just going to let this Azumarill take me out. And then I'm going to be able to bring in, I think I had Choppius, so we're going to be able to bring Choppius in and just save the shields for in case it wants to throw any ice beams at us. He probably assumes I don't have my Choppius because I brought out Azumarill, but it was just a silly mistake. So we actually get pretty close here to taking out that Azumarill, but we don't shield or anything, there's no reason to. I had my, I was supposed to bring out the Stunfisk, not Choppius. Of course I had Stunfisk, how could I forget? Stunfisk was my MVP. So he brings out his Toxicroak. As you'll see here, my Mud Bombs do more than your Mud Bombs. But we decided to switch in the Hypno. We got one of the fast moves in. He brings in his own Hypno. We're able to get to a Shadow Ball though. And he shields that one. That was his last shield. We've still got 2. So I'm going to be able to get to the second Shadow Ball. I think I shield here. I should. Yes, I do. Oh, man. It felt really close then. So we do get to the second Shadow Ball. This should take it out. Oh, it just doesn't. Oh, there we go. It was a CMP tie. And it's a Thunder Punch, which is awesome. So we're able to just confusion down the Hypno. Now he's got his Toxicroak in the back. I bring in my Stunfisk. We're able to tank that Mud Bomb. And we get to our final Mud Bomb. And this is going to win the final battle of the tournament. How crazy is that? Oh my gosh. It still feels like a dream. Like, I've been working so hard. I did like 10 toxic tournaments and I've been doing so many Voyager tournaments to try to just learn, and it just feels good to know that all of the studying I've done over the years and everything is starting to pay off. So I never thought I'd see this screen right here. I want to thank everybody who's watched. I want to congratulate everyone who made it to regionals and all the people that have won theirs. And all the people that have shown their support as well. Like, it's been crazy. Yeah, so I'll see you all in the next video. And thanks for watching. Bye.